Hi everyone. Today we're talking about something very important in marketing, which is the KPIs and the analytics. So for me, there are 10 metrics that you can use to measure your success or how your ad is going, how your marketing campaign is doing. Basically, 10 things that are really, really important. So the first one is reach. So reach is basically the number of people who have seen your post. So if your reach is 100, it means there is 100 people who have seen your post. The second thing is impression. And these two get confused very much, but impression is very different. Impression is that content or that ad has been displayed on a device, but we don't know if it has been seen or not. If it has been seen, it will count as a reach, not an impression. So let's say if 100 people have seen your ad, that's a reach. If 100 people have the ad displayed in their device, that's an impression. All right. The third thing is one of the most important measures, and that's engagement. Engagement can differ from one platform to another. So if we're talking about Instagram, the engagement is a like, a comment, a share, or a save. Those are all engagement methods. On Twitter, it's a retweet with a code. It's like liking, sending. So it's very different from a platform to another, and they're all forms of engagement. And you should be measuring that. The fourth thing is a little bit outside of social media, but very related to it, and that's referrals. So let's say you posted an ad on Instagram, you posted an ad on LinkedIn, and you want to know how many people came from a certain platform. And that you can measure with the referrals. You can see it on your Google Analytics, you can see it on your website, and there's a lot of different tools to measure this. The fifth one is also extremely important. I mean, all these points are very important. The CTR, the click-through rate. And this is very important. You want to know how many clicks, it's not just clicking, it's the click divided by the number of impressions. It means we're dividing the number of clicks by the number of how many times this ad has been displayed, and we multiply that by 100. Remember, we divide by the amount of times the ad has been displayed, not seen. All right, so you have to get that straight to know how to then comment and get an action on that measure. The sixth one is the bounce rate. And this is very important for websites or if you have the link of your business on your socials. So once someone if they just click and close it without browsing your website, they're bouncing. It means they're not interested enough to know more about your product. They saw the website, they're like, and they just closed it. And we want always our first aim to decrease that. So bounce rate is very important. You have to pay attention for it. And your goal has to be always decreasing that because we want people to go through the website, visit a couple of pages, really know what the business is about, right? The seventh one is the return on ad spend. It's really what the name says. We're trying to calculate how much we're getting back from the money we spend. And we calculate that by taking the revenue and dividing it by the ad cost. If I put in X amount of money, how much am I getting back? It's that simple, but it's very important because you want to know how much money you're getting out of your ads. If your ad objective is increasing revenue, you should measure return on ad spend. But if you want to drive the awareness of your brand, you should be focused more on the engagement metrics, which is the likes, the comments, the saves, and all of that. The eighth metric is the conversion rate. The conversion rate is basically the number of conversions, and we divide them by the number of clicks. And what is a conversion? It's basically when a customer completes a desired action. So if we want them, for example, to sign up for our newsletter, if they do sign up, that's a conversion. If we want them to buy a certain product and they do, that's a conversion. So if the customers complete your desired action, they're converting. and you can calculate that. And compared from one campaign to another, compared from 1 month to another is very important. The ninth one is the cost per click or the cost per impression. So if you're running an ad, and this is not for just organic things, because you cannot calculate this for organic posts because you're not really spending anything on it, unless it's a really expensive marketing campaign, you hired a bunch of people for it and you want to calculate that. But for small businesses, for medium businesses, cost per click and cost per impression is just for paid advertising. For cost per impression, you are charged for every 1,000 impression your Facebook paid ad gets, or your Facebook Instagram ad gets. The downside to this is that you have to pay whether or not the ad converts. So this would be more for brand awareness. But if you want to convert, CPC, cost per click, is better because you only pay when they click. The best time to use the cost per impression is also when you're trying to A/B test and you want to know which one will get most attention, when you want to try multiple variants of a campaign, a cost per impression is the way to go. And the 10th and last point is the most obvious one. That's why I left it for the very last. And that's the number of followers or subscribers you have. So just calculating that is very easy, or reporting it is very easy, and you should be following that to know who's still interested in your product, who still want to follow your updates and news. Here is a bonus that I think you may give it a little bit more thought. From the digital marketing evangelist for Google, Avinash Kaushik. I'm not sure if that's how the name is pronounced. If not, I am sorry for that. He identifies other metrics to measure success in his blog post, How to Suck at Social Media, an indispensable guide for businesses. And I will add the link of the blog post below in the description box. The first one is the conversion rate. It is the ratio of comments per post or video or tweet or pin, etc. to overall followers or page likes. And that's something we already talked about. But here the question he's asking is what you're saying interesting enough to spark the most social of all things, a conversation? The second one is the amplification rate. It is the ratio of shares or retweets or repins per post to overall followers or page likes. Here he's asking, is what you're saying so incredible and to a value that I'll stamp my brand on it and forward it to everyone I know? The third metric is the applause rate. It is the ratio of favors or post likes or plus ones or hearts per post to overall followers or page likes. Here he's asking, do I think the content you've posted is interesting, even if I want to bless it with my stamp and forward it on? And the last one is the economic value. Is the value of short and long-term revenue and cost savings. Do we make any money from being on social networks? I really love his questions. I think they give you a lot of space to think and reflect on these questions. And that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.